Happy Friday, Shangam readers! I am so excited that we've made it through another week. And today I want to talk to you about emergencies. How can we use our writing and other strategies that we've learned to help us with a reading emergency? Now, emergency kits, there's all different kinds of them. I have an emergency kit in my classroom with Band-Aids and cream and things like that in case there's an emergency in the classroom that we need something immediately. When we go on field trips at school, Mrs. Delanoy always packs us a little emergency fanny pack full of stuff, right? That there's medicines and tissues and all kind of gloves and things like that in there and Band-Aids. I also have an emergency kit in my car, which your parents probably do too, in case you get a flat tire or something like that happens, and you have the tools in that kit that you would need to get through that emergency or that problem. Well, now, when I think about reading, we run into emergencies sometimes in reading, especially as we're reading these longer books, right? We're learning how to keep track of the information, hold on to the whole story, but sometimes we reach those tricky parts. And this week we've learned about stopping, asking questions, using a partner. But there's something else that I want to talk about today that will help you with your own little reading emergency kit. And that is, as long as you have Post-its or a notepad, a pencil, or a pen, you can be your own emergency kit. Now, we can use all of those strategies that we've learned throughout the week to help us when we hit a spot in a book that we're stuck on or we're confused by. Now, I don't know about you. I can't see a show of hands right now, but how many of you, when you've read a Frog and Toad book, have gotten confused as to which one is Frog and which one is Toad? Me. I've done it. It's happened. And so something that we can do is we can use our Post-its and a pen or a pencil, and you can create a Post-it for each character. And you might write Frog, maybe draw a little picture, and write some information about him. And you can draw a picture on another Post-it of Toad, write Toad, and write some of his character traits on there. And what I like to do is I keep those Post-its with me in my book, so as I'm reading, I can look at those Post-its quickly and go, oh, I know who's who. That's one way to solve an emergency. Another way is to use Post-its to solve these. And I'm going to shrink myself. Woo, there I go. And let me get this nice and big so you can see it. There it is. All right, so when I am trying to keep track of everything I'm learning, when I hit those parts that are a little tricky for me, I can use Post-its and I can use writing to help me keep track of things. And so here I have on this page, and this is going to be your reading activity for the day. I want you to, after you finish reading a chapter, write down what's the problem in the chapter, what's a big event in that chapter, what are the characters' feelings, and then what's the solution in that chapter? If there is one. There might not be one. So remember, while you're reading, there might not always be a solution. There might not even be a problem in that specific chapter. But these are ways to help you keep track. Now, I decided to use these 4 headings for my Post-its to help me keep track and to help me with my reading emergencies. But you don't necessarily have to have these 4 categories of problem, solution, big event, and feelings. You can choose things to help you, but this is a way that I'm choosing to help organize my thoughts and help me get through the book that I'm reading. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to share with you Chapter 3 of Dory Phantasmagorie. And Chapter 3 is called Chicken Bone. It goes, as I step over Mrs. Gobblecracker's body on my way to breakfast, I start to worry. 100 years sounds like a very long time, but what if 100 years goes by really fast? I decide to wear my cow costume as a disguise just in case Mrs. Gobblecracker wakes up, just to be safe. Aren't you hot in that? Asks Luke. No. Yes. I don't want Mrs. Gobblecracker to recognize me. Stop talking about Mrs. Gobblecracker, screams Violet. Stop talking about Mrs. Gobblecracker. I copy her. Stop copying me! Stop copying me! While Mrs. Gobblecracker is asleep, I finally have time to hang out with Luke and Violet. I try to get Luke and Violet to laugh at me. Cereal time, I've discovered, is the best time for laughing. If I can get milk to come out of my nose, they always laugh. And if my parents sleep late, I can make them laugh by saying bathroom words. And then I beep, and then beep, beep, and then the toilet broke. But after cereal time, I have to work much harder to get their attention. If you want, you can milk me, I offer Violet. Ew, says Violet. Okay, I'll milk myself and fill up a glass for you, I offer. Get away from me, screams Violet. I follow Luke and Violet around the house and think of ways to impress them. Mary follows me. Can I draw a mustache on Mrs. Gobblecracker while she's asleep? Asks Mary. No, that is way too risky, I tell her. But she's snoring really loudly, says Mary. I'm busy, I say, waving her away. Hey guys, do you want to see a magic trick? See the stick in this hand? I say. Then I put my hands behind my back. Now it's in this hand! Ta-da! That's the worst trick I've ever seen, says Luke. I'm going to pull it out. Ready? 1, 2. They didn't even want to see me eat a napkin. Want to see me eat a napkin? Left hand on red. Hey guys, do you know what I can sing? I can sing without opening my mouth. I'm dead serious. Listen. Can you please hum somewhere else, says Luke. It's not humming. I'm singing, I say. Wait a minute. Is that sweat? Says Violet, looking up. Are you covered in sweat? She asks. Take that thing off. Nope, I say, and I fold my arms. I will not. Why do you always have to act like such a baby? Asks Violet. And then my mom yells, Rascal! It's 100 degrees. Take that costume off right this second. I am boiling mad. Like that language there? I was singing. You are interrupting. I collapse onto the kitchen floor. The tile feels cool on my hot face. My tears fall onto the diamond patterns in the tile that I know so well from so many temper tantrums on the kitchen floor. As I'm screaming and kicking and crying, I unbutton my cow costume and strip down to my underwear. Because it's way too hot to have this temper tantrum in a cow costume, not because they told me to. When I'm all done, I put my bathing suit on and go outside. Check out this picture. Look who's hanging out in the window. Guess 100 years did go by quickly. I find Mary asleep under a tree. Are you real sleeping or fake sleeping? I ask her. Real sleeping, she says without opening her eyes. Now even Mary doesn't want to play. I lie in the hammock all by myself and think, maybe Luke and Violet are right. Maybe I am a baby. I think of all the babyish things I do. I still smell my bunny and suck my fingers to fall asleep. I still put my clothes on inside out. I still can't whistle. I still overflow everything I pour. I still want to wear my nightgown all day. When I look up at the trees through my tears, I see someone up there looking down at me. Who are you? I ask, rubbing my eyes, squinting into the sun. I'm your fairy godmother, says a little man, crawling down from the tree like a koala. Are you sure? I ask. You don't look like a fairy godmother. Well, pretty sure, he says, but he looks kind of confused to me. Well, the important thing is, I'm here to help you. He says his name is Mr. Nuggy, and that he lives in the woods. Boy, do I need help, I say. Can you turn me into something else? I have too many problems as a human. Sure, he says. How about a pineapple? Okay, I say, shrugging. Why not? He takes out his wand. 1, 2, 3, ta-da! I look down at my body. I don't feel like a pineapple, I say. Do I look like one? Mr. Nuggy looks at me very carefully. He sniffs me and pokes me. Then sadly he shakes his head no. I'm sorry. It's okay. But then I have an idea. How about a puppy? Can you turn me into a puppy? Definitely, he says, jumping up excitedly. No problem at all. He's lucky that I'm already really good at turning into a puppy. 1, 2, 3. He waves his wand. I drop to my hands and knees. Woof, woof, woof. I bark and wag my tail. Mr. Nuggy looks very pleased. I turned into a puppy just in time. Where did that little girl go? She was just out here. And where did this silly dog come from? Mrs. Gobblecracker asked Mr. Nuggy. You must be imagining things, says Mr. Nuggy. There's no girl here. I know you're up to something, Nuggy, she says. Your silly little tricks have never worked on me. Watch out, says Mr. Nuggy. This dog bites. I bark my head off at Mrs. Gobblecracker. Somebody get this dog to be quiet, says Mrs. Gobblecracker. She has absolutely no idea it's me. And I'm actually going to stop here. The chapter goes on for quite a bit longer, but I want to be able to go over what I want you to do today. So I'm going to shrink myself again. And we're going to get out of here if I can. And we're going to go over here. And I filled out one already for us to look at. So again, I'm using that problem, the big event, feelings, and a solution. And I took notes to keep track of my thinking. So what was the problem in this chapter? The problem was that Dory was afraid Mrs. Gobblecracker was going to wake up early and recognize her, right? The big event in this story is that Dory meets Mr. Nuggy and he tries to turn her into something else. First a pineapple, that didn't work, so then a puppy. Feelings. Oh, I realize you can't. Where's my cursor? See this all the way? Let's shoo it down a little bit. There we go. Feelings. Dory is feeling left out. And even her best friend Mary doesn't want to play with her, right? She's got a lot of problems. She's feeling kind of sad and down. And then the solution was that Mr. Nuggy turns Dory into a puppy so Mrs. Gobblecracker can't find her. And just in time, right? Because Mrs. Gobblecracker does wake up. She comes out looking for that little girl and can't find her. So today, as you're reading, when you get to the end of a chapter, or like you saw it even in this book, this was a really long chapter, I'm able to still keep track. So take some Post-its or make a plan, write in a notebook or on a piece of paper what you want to keep track of and make sure you take notes on that today. Have a great day and have an even better weekend. Bye, guys.